I think it would be helpful for us if we just started from a high level and talk about state lobbying,
Okay.
especially when it comes to cannabis and hemp, and just give us a good lay groundwork for us about how this all comes to be, these different organizations, the kind of like the push and pull of it all. But more importantly, as like the cannabis industry starts to evolve and intermix with the hemp category, and there's a lot of outside interest. There's a lot of people that look at California and have a lot of interest in seeing California grow and succeed beyond the California operators. And I would just love a little bit of guidance from you on how we can be most effective in those conversations, what's worth spending our time on, and so on and so forth.
I've been lobbying for the California cannabis industry since 2014. An OG in the space. And there have been many lobbyists that have come and gone that lobbied and are no longer lobbying. And then we have a new host of lobbyists. More specifically to your question about how the industry can lobby and be more engaged in advocacy, what I would start with is this industry is very divided in most instances, right? You've got numerous license types, and we don't always agree. There's not that kind of unity that you see in maybe more seasoned is not a good word, but different entities and organizations and business types where you've evolved over time and there's a little bit more unity. I think we're a little bit more fractured right now. We're working to change that, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about tax reform, and that's really created a lot of unity amongst industry associations and the lobbyists who represent them. So it's been very encouraging and inspiring to be united as it relates to taxation and tax reform. But a lot of work still needs to be done. Most of the associations are pretty anemic. They're small. They have a hard time attracting and retaining members. This industry doesn't have a strong history of joining associations and engaging. And I certainly appreciate some of the reasons why. One, as you noted, it's very intimidating. It's really unfamiliar to most people, but it's also frankly been a real impediment to our success over the years. So
Right.
if there's one thing I would strongly encourage, and it doesn't have to be my association, but just more engagement, more association engagement, political engagement, those things are really important because what we are trying to achieve now, and we're having some success, but what has been challenging is legislators don't look at us and see the industry in their communities. So
Hmm.
I'll give you, and then I'll be quiet, but I'll give you an example of that. I used to be the director of public affairs for the League of California Cities. It was 100 years ago. At least it feels like that to me. But
Right.
what the league was so successful at doing is they'll go in and lobby, and the legislators don't see the lobbyists. They don't even see the league. They see their individual mayor, their council members, their people in their community. And so the more we can get engagement from the legal industry, both cannabis and hemp, and familiarize policymakers with who we are in their communities, I think the more successful we'll be. Sorry, that was probably a long answer to your question, but
No, but that last piece really
yeah,
resonates because
yeah,
yesterday I was meeting with someone and I was there with my lobbyist and we were, so this is what they care about. These are the topics.
yeah.
Now we need to go find operators that represent those topics in those areas and bring them into the office with us so that really hear it. And this comes up for a lot for me, and I know boo hiss, but like on the hemp side of the business, um, you know, as
Anti-hemp.
as we get into conversations around Texas and even California, there are many large brands that are national that are looking at these states and like they want to help open them up or help educate on the hemp opportunity. And there's a lot of noise that's being caused, whether it's certain associations that are going in without any local representation, or even law firms that are based in other states going into other states and thinking that they're going to rally the troops. And we have seemingly found more success going in and finding the local organizations with the local constituents and being an assist to them instead of leading the charge.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. I think putting kind of a local face on anything you do is going to move the needle At least that's certainly been my experience. It's not always the case, but that's where I have found the most success. So I think that is a good strategy, whether you're cannabis or hemp. Another way to answer your original question, this is California. This is the fourth largest economy in the world. Policymakers have a lot of things they have to focus on, whether it's housing, homelessness, mental health, transportation, AI. And so putting that local spin or that local face on an issue really resonates with them in a very meaningful way in most instances. And again, that's something that I think any trade association or any industry should be striving to do, because I
Mhm.
think, again, that's where I have found the most success.
I think what you're highlighting, which is interesting, is this push and pull that happens, especially when people are going and lobbying on behalf of cannabis. It's often because they are a cannabis business operator and they have some type of tremendous pain and suffering that they're feeling because of an existing law or regulation. And that is causing them to try to change it. But the push and pull is that is their whole world. But these policymakers have way more going on and don't understand it at all. And it's just like, how do we deal with this to be able to create mutual alignment amongst these parties that are just not aligned inherently?
Mhm.
Policymaking in cannabis is like a layer cake. It starts at like the local level. There's all of these laws that might be happening in your city. And then you've got your state laws. And then you've got like the federal stuff that complicates things all on top of it. And there's lobbying going on at all of those levels. I think specifically, like, we want to talk with you because you are a policy guru for Sacramento, which is where it all happens in California. You've been leading the charge for a long time. Really, you're behind one of the largest coalitions that I've seen in the past 5 years around tax reform.